On to average velocity. Average velocity is like average speed. It's calculated over the course of an entire motion. But average velocity considers displacement, not distance. I may have misspoke in an earlier video where I said when we were looking at the V av equals delta D over delta T. V, remember, is used interchangeably for speed and velocity. As we go through, you'll understand and hopefully forgive, please forgive, how I could mess that up. And that's because we're just going to use average velocity so much more. We don't talk about average speed, rarely. So we have the delta x, our displacement, and then we have delta t, which is our time interval again. So it's the time elapsed. Arrow over the V indicates that it's a vector. So this little thing here. So two things that vectors have: magnitude and direction. So that means our answer is going to be some number over here. That number can be positive, can be negative. That positive or negative is going to indicate what direction we're going. We could also include a direction like an angle or a cardinal direction like north, south, east, west. Normally it's just going to be a positive or negative. Or velocity to the right or to the left. Before, for average speed, back when I was misspeaking, I said total distance. Now for average velocity, it's net displacement. Don't total and net mean the same thing? No, they're slightly different, of course. Remember, in physics, we have to be specific and precise when we're communicating. In physics, we say total. When we add up numbers, we expect to be positive. If someone asks me the total number I expect to make this year, I'm going to add up all of the amounts of money I receive, because receiving money is a positive change or an increase. In physics, we say net when we add up numbers where some numbers might be positive and some might be negative. We do the same thing outside of physics class too. If someone asks me the net amount I expect to make this year, I'm going to add up all the monies I receive and subtract all the amounts of money I have to pay out, like taxes, because gains are positive and losses are negative. So when somebody asks you how much you made last year or how much do you make, normally they're asking for the gross amount. And gross is just all the positive stuff, all the stuff you're going to be taking in. If they ask for what is your net income, then you're going to have to subtract out taxes or any other encumbrances. Distances can only be positive if I travel 8 to the right and then 12 to the left. The distance I traveled is 20. But displacements are positive for motions to the right and negative for motions to the left. If I travel 8 to the right and then 12 to the left, my displacement is then 4 to the left, because displacement, remember, is the straight line from the ending point to the beginning point. Now, instantaneous speed tells us how fast an object is going at an exact moment in time. It's what you see on your speedometer in the car. It is distance divided by the time interval, but the distance is a tiny distance traveled during a tiny time that starts before and after the moment in time. If I have my distance over here and my time over here, then I can say, all right, we'll call this 1 second. At 1 second, I am going this same average speed the entire time. There's a slope that is not changing. So my rise, or my delta D, that's delta D right there. And then my run is going to be this direction, my delta T, because T is on the x-axis. So then my slope is going to tell me my average speed for that moment. To get your average speed when your speeds are fluctuating constantly, it's not that simple. Instead, you kind of have to look in on it and shorten this change in time to a super, super small amount. And what that ends up doing is giving you just a straight line for your d, so then we can just find the slope of that. So it's a super tiny distance over a super tiny time interval. Instantaneous velocity is the same thing as instantaneous speed, but it has direction. We'll do some examples next.